Hello everyone, welcome to episode 32 of Last Minute FPL. This is the Gameweek 32 podcast. Hi Vikas, how are you?
Doing well. Bit earlier than usual this time. So not too last minute, but hopefully we'll get some valuable information for some extra planning with the Champions League fixtures.
Yeah, I definitely need the brainstorming. I'm a little confused, but I think we should take a moment to celebrate the previous game week. All three teams doing really well, getting very healthy green arrows, and ending up interestingly on the exact same points. So finally, all the weeks of frustration has come to
It's
some
pretty
fruition.
crazy. Like different teams are maybe not too different now given the Palace and Newcastle heaviness, but 65 points, all three teams is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and yeah, let's go into it. We'll start with the AI team. 65 points, ranked, jumped from I think 20k to 12k, so knocking on the top 10k's doors. I mean, the common players in all our teams are basically Mateta did well for all of us, Jacob Murphy, Livramento, and Munoz. And I think the other player was different. Like for the AI team, it's Eze. Going for Eze over Sar has definitely worked out. I think that extra team value helped. Unfortunately, it benched Guardiola though because it already had Saliba. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Eze is again a great shout. I feel like the AI team has been making some of these close calls really well this season. Um, I mean, even we were talking about even if he had the money, maybe Sar would have been the better option. But
Yeah.
really fascinating to see the AI team again going a bit different there.
Yeah, I think it benefited from Eze sometime earlier in the season also when I think Saka got injured and no one was even thinking of Eze and it got a few returns in a row.
And
Um,
part of this, you think, it might be the historical data of Eze.
Yeah,
Maybe.
definitely. I
Yeah.
think the previous 19 game weeks, he's got a pedigree in FPL. He's a reliable player, so that's probably working out for him. Yeah, moving on to my team, very similar team. The only difference is for me because I got Gabriel on my earlier wildcard. Guardiola, I had to play him, and he got 9 points. Uh, yeah, I think it's interesting. Like you lose, like the early wildcard. I was disappointed that I went Gabriel because he got injured. But like these things kind of balance each other out at some point, getting
Yeah.
these extra points. Yeah, and I think one concern is that Konza was benched and Savinho, I didn't expect him to play against United. Hopefully he'll be back against Palace, but that's always a risk. Yeah, otherwise it's pretty much the same team. But what I'm happy about is I've jumped from 450k to 300k, and now it looks far more decent. And hopefully, I can keep pushing on with bench boost and free hit and assistant manager
And the
left.
assistant manager, which is huge. I think that could be very, very swingy for you.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it because I think this season we'll need a lot of transfers in general to navigate the rest of the season. But I'll need even more because I might have to move around the assistant manager to make it work. But yeah, moving on to your team, same points again, 65. This was your wildcard week, and yeah, the your differential player was basically Morgan Rogers. He's been amazing. He scored in the Champions League as well, and you've jumped from 2.8 to 2.1 million. Huge jump. I think probably the biggest jump of the season.
Yeah,
How do you
it
feel?
was a good week. I think captaincy's been failing for a few weeks now, but it doesn't seem to be impacting the rank gain like for this week because of the really good performance from Livramento and Murphy. Even though they're highly owned, but still, I think the combination of players may still be relatively low, especially at my rank. Rogers coming good. Feel a bit bad about benching Guardiola. Thinking back, maybe I could have spread the risk rather than going double Arsenal defense with another City defender. But it was a tough benching headache. So, yeah,
No, and
unfortunate, but pretty
and
good.
and you're very unlucky with the Arsenal clean sheet loss. It was a dodgy penalty, and Saliba was on full bonus. So on
Yeah.
another day, it could have been a really massive score with both Raya and Saliba getting clean sheets.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, let's take a look at the league table now, because the top has got very interesting. Conte Kante and Last Minute FPL, which is the AI team, are tied and on 21, 29 points. They've been going neck and neck for a while, and Alan Evans not far behind with 15 points in it. And Sampath also still hanging around there, threatening to catch them. But yeah, exciting head to the finish
Yeah,
line.
congratulations to, I mean, the AI team for catching up to first.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the AI team had pretty good week. Positivity going into the potential bench boost week. I don't know what the AI team's got planned. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Uh, and of course, it's really nice to see that anyone can win the title still. Like, there's no clear pull away.
Yeah, and both our teams also. I mean, I didn't rise in the table, but I think our three teams got the highest points in the league this week. So good time to celebrate. And yeah, I'm still 13th, but you've jumped to 29th now, and maybe that earlier target of what was it, 28th, or was it
25.
25?
Varun currently occupies, but it's far away.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like what 70 points, but who
who
knows?
knows?
I mean, 100 points in 10 weeks. That type of catch up has happened in the past,
Yeah.
but it has to really go your way.
Yeah, and also I was looking at the league probability for different positions and finishes, and obviously they're tied on points. So Conte and the AI team are both 32% likely to win the league. Alan Evans with about 19% and Sampath with about 6%. But yeah, like shows how close it is.
Oh,
Cool. Let's look at some of the games from last week now. Yeah, I think this was the last game, but I think this was what clinched our wildcards being kind of successful. The Leicester Newcastle game, Jacob
that's
Murphy,
yeah.
16 pointer. It's like the stuff of
Pretty ridiculous. And
dreams.
at his price, being the enabler in the team,
Yeah.
he just came good at the right time. So really happy about that because I was in a bit of a doubt in terms of him wildcarding this week because I was considering 32, but the team was just like too injury ridden. So I'm really happy about that one.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone I didn't like really care about being on the wild card. He was more of okay, he has doubles and he's cheap. But actually, since December, I think he has second most attacking returns to only Salah, which is a
Crazy.
crazy stat. And yeah, a little disappointed with Isak blanking. I did go for Captain Isak in the end. I almost did Captain Palmer. Like I'm just trying to. I think I'm just trying to roll the dice and see what sticks. But yeah, that would have been a real good finish for me, but that didn't happen. Um, any game that you want to talk about?
Um, I think the other one of note is I didn't really play a big factor, but Spurs 3-1 was an interesting game because one of the other players that I was considering is Brennan Johnson, just as a 1 week punt if I was going to
Wow.
wild card the next week.
Yeah.
So that's really fascinating. But it was very risky because I was looking at Johnson the past week and he was getting rotated around
Yeah.
all over the place. And it was
Yeah.
hard to even like predict Spurs team. So I decided against that and just going with the wild card. But for those who did go for like wildcard 32 and I thought Johnson was a very good punt and those that did go Johnson, huge congrats there. I think that's a nice send off.
Yeah, makes sense. I think another game of FPL interest was the Palace Brighton game, with a bunch of Palace highly owned assets returning. Mateta, Munoz scoring, Eze getting 9 points, Sar disappointing. I think I'm in your camp now, having owned him for a couple of disappointing weeks, especially one against Southampton. Hopefully he comes good, but yeah, good. Like this is the kind of thing that you want when you wildcard and load up on a team. And interestingly, Liverpool lost to Fulham. Yeah, and Salah for the second consecutive game kept quiet and he's blanked. Do you think that the overperformance is catching up to him, or do you think like a slump because they know they've got the title? What do you think?
I wouldn't read too much into it. It's like 2 weeks. That's pretty normal for most players. So, given that this might be Salah's last season, I don't see any way where he doesn't go all out for the remaining games. And, I don't see him taking it easy at all. Having said that, I don't know, like when are we going to next? I mean, now is the double game week and then it's the bench boost week. So the captaincies anyway probably out of the question for the next few. And that gives us more opportunity to see whether it's actually going to be a more prolonged slump than we are thinking.
Yeah, I think the only thing is you don't have much to do with that money anyway, with Haaland not being an option. If Haaland was there and the double was coming up, that would have been interesting. But yeah, now you can own Salah and 34 free hit anyway. I mean, you'll captain him that week, and 32, 33 you'll have other captaincies. So maybe it's the ship has sailed in terms of betting against him for a few weeks at least. But yeah, if you did that and it worked out, a lot of the captaincy options this week didn't really pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think Everton Arsenal 1-1. Saka, unfortunately, I mean, he just played 45 minutes. And Arsenal, again, I don't think Arsenal care about the league anymore, right? It's pretty clear. Like, they're going all out for the Champions League. Not really sure what to expect of Arsenal players, although, have almost everyone's been holding up because of the double game week.
Yeah, and huge shout out to Arsenal for that 3-0 win. And Declan Rice's, I think, all timer free kicks. It's, I mean, I don't have too much love for Arsenal as a football club, but seeing that definitely made me smile because, like, those free kicks were out of the world. And to get two of them against Real Madrid in the Champions League knockouts, I'm sure fans are, like, absolutely over the moon. It's probably the greatest night of football I've seen for Arsenal in a long time, maybe in 20 years.
I didn't know Declan Rice was capable of free kicks like that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, the first one itself was incredible, and then when the second one went in, I was like, wow, this is even better. How do you do that twice on the same day? Like, the chances of that are remote to none. But yeah, basically they don't care about the league. Like, I can't, at least for this fixture, the upcoming fixture between the two Real Madrid games, I'm definitely worried about the fact that I still have Gabriel. I don't know who to move him on to. And I think same can be kind of said about Villa, although they did have a 3-1 loss, so they're probably going to be knocked out. I mean, in this game, they beat Forest 2-1. Again, convincing performance. They created more than 3xg. Rogers doing well again. But it also showed their bench strength. Like, he rotated the entire back four. I mean, Konza had to come on at halftime because things weren't going well. But apart from that, like, in attack, they have so many options. In midfield, like, he can rotate the entire squad. And I don't see why he wouldn't do that again. And I just want to touch upon the 2 0-0s as well. One was United City. Quite a boring game. Nothing much happened. United actually created a lot of chances, but couldn't take advantage. Bruno had a really good game, but not from an FPL perspective. And the other was Brentford Chelsea. Palmer didn't start. Like, what's happening? Don't you want to? I mean, I know there are 5 teams qualifying now, but I thought it was a good opportunity for Chelsea to go out and give a good performance and because Brentford has been tricky for them in the past as well.
Yeah, it's hard to read, honestly. I mean, he should have played. I just think there must have been some fatigue or something that the coach was seeing. I mean, I anyway don't think Chelsea are a reliable team. I think I saw a stat that their away record has been quite pathetic this year. I don't think they've picked up a win over the last 7-8 games or something like that. Their away form is really bad, and I think home games not pretty okay, especially against the easier teams. But otherwise, it's a pretty unreliable team at the moment, and it's a good thing that they're not much of a factor in FPL anymore, except for as a placeholder for Saka.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, they do have Ipswich at home, but yeah, I mean, I did have Palmer for the Leicester and Southampton at homes. So
I think that should be fine. I think Ipswich at home, Palmer, I would expect some points
as long as he plays. So that's cool. And also a quick shout out to Evan Nilsson getting a brace. He's been on a great scoring run. Cool. Yeah, I think that's about it from last week's games. We'll touch upon the next week's games. We do have the Rob T FPL chart. So since this is a double game week, teams like Newcastle and Palace, this takes into account their 2 fixtures worth of data. So Newcastle is clearly at the top, expected to score 3.85 goals across the 2 games, and atop the clean sheet projections as well, with 53% chance of 1 clean sheet, at least 1 clean sheet. Yeah, interesting to see Brighton so high up in the clean sheet and the goal scoring. They're playing Leicester, and Leicester haven't scored since January. And I have Verbruggen this week, so probably that duck is gonna end. But yeah, I mean Liverpool and Chelsea also have good fixtures. Palace is somewhere in fourth or fifth, despite having two games because they are tricky
They're
games.
tough fixtures. Yeah. Those are tough fixtures. Yeah, I think this could be a very, very interesting week where some of the teams who don't have like this triple palace could end up doing better. With a few Brighton players, a Liverpool player. All you need is like one, like a Luis Diaz to like go and get two goals, and
Yeah.
I doubt Ismail Assar is going to match that against City away, Newcastle away. Maybe Mateta also doesn't get there because anyway he's not playing 90 minutes, make it rotated. So it's quite possible that just the double game week aspect doesn't really play too much of a factor. Although I do think the team that you can't skimp on here, which is also shown in stats, is Newcastle. You do need three of those.
Yeah, and Newcastle does have United at home, so that and Palace at home, right? Both are home games.
Both home, United home, Palace home. It's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you have the triple captain left, I think this is a good time to use it on.
And it's also motivation. Newcastle are going for, if they're still playing for something meaningful.
Yeah.
Palace, I don't know.
Yeah, like it's Palace have a 25% chance of one clean sheet, even though they have two games. So I think you're basically banking on Munoz to get attacking returns, which he's capable of, as he just showed. But yeah, cool. Yeah, anything else that stands out? I mean, Arsenal do have a 38% chance, but again, I know that they'll rotate quite a bit. Timber was again
probably it's going to be much lower with the rotation.
Yeah.
It's just assuming full strength, I suppose.
Makes sense. Cool. Let's look at the assistant manager projection. Interesting thing here is that Glasner has two table bonus games. So if you're someone chasing and you really want to go all out, you could punt on him. But his projected points are lesser than Eddie House. So I mean, we'll do what we usually do for table bonus, right? Like win percent plus draw percent. For the City game is just 36%, but it's still quite sizable.
You lose both. I think this will be a disaster assistant managership.
Newcastle away
I have such low confidence on Palace, but
47%, 47 and 36. Like one draw will be like you'll cross 10 points.
I think everyone's going to be super disappointed with Triple Palace, although this seems quite expected.
Yeah, I actually think most of the people who've activated assistant manager are on Eddie Howe, because they had the Leicester game before this, where I think he got 11 points, if I'm not wrong. And then now they have a double. But yeah, that's where I'm a little concerned. If you are going with someone like Eddie Howe, you don't have table bonus, and I would want really obvious fixtures if you're going for a assistant manager that way, like Leicester, Southampton, Ipswich, maybe West Ham. Although Arteta lost to West Ham and a lot of people activated assistant manager on him, but yeah, I think that's what makes me a little uncomfortable. But I think, I mean, they are favorites in both games, so you could see a big haul.
Yeah. But I mean, the other way, if you look at it, there's like what the probability that Eddie Howe doesn't get any points is like 21%. For Glasner, that is like 56%. 66%.
I mean, that is for one game, and then there is another game. But the thing is with Glasner, if he gets even a draw out of the two games, he'll cross 10 points probably. And that's where, it's basically the distribution is Glasner has a ceiling of 40 points, whereas, but that expected value is only 12 because he'll also bust like 25% of the time. So yeah, it's basically, I mean, this is gambling at the end of the day. And that's what I don't like about this chip, because you're betting on a team. But yeah, I mean, it's basically your risk reward appetite and what
it's floor versus ceiling, really. I think the floor is with Howe, ceiling is with Glasner.
Yeah, agreed. Cool. Yeah, let's move on. Let's look at the fixtures that are coming up. This is assuming that you're on a free hit 34 with all the doubles that have currently been announced in play. Yeah, and a couple of things I want to talk about here. One is that if you're planning to play the bench boost, it's either going to be in 32 or 33, which could also see a lot of rotation for some key teams because of Champions League, like we just spoke. So Arsenal, for example, have Brentford at home, but they have a Real Madrid game. They have a 3-day break, but I don't see any reason why he wouldn't do a mass rotation, because this is basically their biggest game in their in Arteta's reign at least, and yeah, they really don't want to screw this up, right? Like the 3-0 up against Real, it'll be horrible if they lose someone to injury just before the game.
I think both Arsenal and Villa will rotate massively. Arsenal probably, I mean, they have more gap. They have 3 days gap compared to Villa. Villa will have massive rotation. They have 2 days gap, and they'll go all out for the Champions League for a comeback victory at home. Arsenal have 3 days gap between the games, but again, like you said, they don't have much to play for. They're probably going to get Champions League, and they might as well rotate to not just take any risks or get any injuries.
Yeah, fully agree. And they have options as well, and that's yeah, I think maybe in defense you could say someone like a Kiwior might have to play, but then you don't know who's the player who's going to be looking leggy or who needs rest, because Timber was taken off early with a knock, Saka was taken off early with a knock, but Ben White, for example, he can play right back or centre back, so he could replace Timber, he could replace Kiwior. I would honestly say that maybe Raya and 95% Saliba are the ones who you can say with some guarantee will play. Everyone else you can't predict. And with Villa, I would say probably just Martinez. Because in the
even Martinez might get rotated. I'm actually like worried about the keepers. I have Raya and Martinez, and both teams out for rotation. I hope at least one of these keepers play.
Yeah, I didn't pay so much attention to it when I was picking my third, fourth, fifth bench players on my wild card, and I'm regretting it massively, because at the end of the day, you at least want your bench boost players to play. I should have just gone for like a Dunk or Estupinian, like someone just you're going to play in 32, no risk of rotation. I thought Konza was rotation proof, but in the previous game he came on in the second half only. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing is bench boost 32 versus 33 kind of depends on which keeper you have. For example, if you have someone like Areola, you probably want to do a 33, and also how many rotation risk players you have in 32. So if you're in a position where your bench might look decent for 33, I think it's better to wait, because there's a lot of rotation risk in 32, and the last thing you want is like half your bench to come on. But in my case, I need to use a lot of transfers if I want to do it in 33 also. So I'm kind of stuck in a place of not a great bench boost in 32, or using a lot of transfers to build a team for 33. And the reason I'm hesitant to do the latter is in Gameweek 37 and 36, we're likely to have doubles and blanks for the FA Cup finals or the Europa League finals. It's not been announced yet, but there is a possibility of it, where whichever teams make it to the FA Cup final, like City, Villa, or Forest, or Bournemouth, Palace, whoever it could be, could have blanks in 37 and double in 36, and that will be impossible to navigate because we won't have chips. Like you'll have, let's say you have 4-5 doublers in 36, and you're all of a sudden left with 4-5 blankers in 37. So transfers will be important, and I also have assistant manager left to play. So I want to choose the option which will require lesser number of transfers, which will likely be playing the bench boost in 32 and swallowing a Konza benching if that's what has to be the case. And that's why I'm also avoiding moving Gabriel to maybe an Arsenal defender. But yeah, these are some of the constraints that people should keep in mind while deciding which week to bench boost.
Okay.
Cool. And for people who don't have a free hit, I think you should probably get Liverpool players, maybe someone like a Bradley, or maybe Brighton players, although they're a little less predictable in terms of how they'll do. Even Forest is a good option. They don't have doubles. That's the only downside. But you'll have a good run of decent fixtures without a blank.
Yeah, Liverpool look excellent, honestly. I'm actually for 33. I was just thinking about it, and I have 3 Newcastle, 3 Palace, 3 Arsenal, uh, and 3 City. Newcastle obviously don't double in 33. That's for 32. But I have only 2 Villa. So I was thinking of like who do I want for the third Villa spot, and it's not clear to me. Like who do I want to like double up on the defense? That looks like pretty bad, honestly, with Villa's fixtures. So I might actually go single game week. I'm actually also looking at single game week teams like Liverpool. Obviously, won't jump on 32, but Liverpool versus Leicester in 33, getting rid of Isaac to go Diaz or someone in midfield and distributing that money. Sounds good to me. I really think that some of these single game week teams, we shouldn't overlook them, even if you do have the free at 34.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even that's my line of thinking as well, because there's no use of a double if you're unsure. Like if Villa players, for example, that double is probably not going to be a double for most attackers.
Yeah. And I don't even know who starts too, and then they're not easy fixtures as well. So beyond Martinez and I have Rogers now, I'm not really interested.
Yeah. The only thing though is Villa have been playing really well, and they have the Champions League places to fight for as well as the Champions League. I know that they might rotate in 32, but I think they will play whatever their. So, for example, I think Morgan Rogers will play Newcastle and City. So I think 33.
I think, but in attack, it's just Rogers, right? Like even Watkins didn't play against PSG. Rashford, essentially, there's really no one else that you can say will play both in attack.
Yeah, fully agree.
The question is, do you want double defense? I don't want double defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's probably better to go for someone. I think Bradley is a good, exciting option with Trent out. At least for I don't think Trent is coming back anytime soon. And then later, once you play a bench boost, if you have to bench
like Livramento to a Bradley, and then getting an Isaac out for someone, like if there's a forward, if not a forward, distributor midfield.
Yeah, I feel like keeping Isaac might end up being the play. Because he's someone who's going to play every week now. They have nothing else to play for. And I mean, he didn't score against Leicester, but I mean, he's got more than 20 goals this season. I think instead of maximizing the number of doublers in 33, I might pivot to looking at long-term.
I don't think it makes sense, given especially Villa being the main bottle.
Cool. Let's move on to the point projections. Now that we have 32 and 33 being double, even though Mateta, see, this is what I mean. Mateta has back-to-back doubles, but Isak is the one with higher point projection because Mateta is blanking right after.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one thing. And Darwin, for example, is showing up high here. He could be the forward that you were talking about because good fixtures if he's going to play.
It's always the question, even a single game, like, is he going to play? And if he does play, is he going to Darwin or not?
Yeah. I mean, I would stay away from him. I was just kidding. Same thing with Watkins. I would keep away. Evanilson is a good option because he's very cheap. He's going to play. If you already have him, I wouldn't buy him in this situation. But Bournemouth have a good run of fixtures. I think a lot of people would have had Kluivert on the wild card if he wasn't injured. So I think Evanilson is in a similar vein. I think if you already have him, you keep him because you at least know he's going to play. He can be the bench boost, third player on the bench boost. I think other than that, I mean, Joao Pedro again didn't play last week, so I wouldn't.
Slim pickings, right? It's still slim pickings in the format. There's not too many options here.
Yeah, tough to go without Isak, Mateta, Marmoush. Yeah,
I think you're right. It's just not worth getting rid of Isak just for 1 week.
Yeah,
especially with his price.
Exactly, and after 34, he's gonna be probably the best striker in the game again.
Yeah.
So it might be like we were saying, transfers are very precious, so it's probably
I
better
think the
to.
problem, like why Isaac was interesting to me, is just the money bag aspect of it.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, I have Livermore and Murphy, and that just restricts the pool of players. Like if I want to get, or I mean, who else is there? Like you know, we're not going to get rid of Salah probably.
yeah,
Pretty much everyone else is a double gaming player. So it's just Livermore and Murphy, and
yeah.
they're just inexpensive, and it's hard to find replacements.
No, I think if you're bench boosting in 33 anyway, probably your transfers are best focused on at least one of Livramento and Murphy, because Villa away is not.
It's not the best.
Yeah, maybe Livramento, but again, if Newcastle have good fixtures after the double and after the blank, I mean
Murphy's fine, actually. Murphy might still be an okay option even
exactly,
after that.
exactly, yeah. Cool. Let's move on to midfielders now. Uh, yeah, and what stands out to me here is Murphy is the vice captain of the AI team this week because he's the second highest point projector for game week 32, which is a huge. I mean he has been rated highly by the projections for a while, but I think this brace definitely pushed him over the top. And very interesting to see Salah at 8.35, which is higher than a lot of double game weekers on this list.
No, no.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, the Liverpool have really good fixtures, honestly. I think that's where even Diaz is 5.2, but given his price, great option.
yeah, and even 33, Salah is projected 9.14. I think they play Leicester away. And yeah, Diaz 5.6 as well. Good options. But I think, and also Palmer this week and next has good games. Saka hopefully will start both games in 33. But yeah, and another player I think who's going quite under the radar is Mbumo. He has been scoring pretty much every other game. And I think 33 onwards, Brentford's fixtures also get better. So and they finished the season really strong. So if you already have him, I think he's a good keep. Otherwise, maybe after the blank, I would get him in.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Moving on to defenders again, like it will be dominated by the double game because I guess Trent shouldn't be on this because he's injured. But apart from that, it's Palace, Newcastle, Arsenal, and then yeah, Van Dijk and Konate again showing that Liverpool have really good fixtures.
Yeah. Is Bradley going to be the direct replacement, or can they play anyone else in Trent's position? I think that's the big question for anyone looking to go for the Trent replacement to take advantage of some of this data.
Yeah, I would wait and see what the press conferences and what fans are saying, because Curtis Jones played right back against Fulham, but it didn't go well. And so it seems obvious that Bradley will play. I think he had a knock in the previous game. So it's something to wait and see and check the predicted lineups and what Arne Slot says. But yeah, it is a relatively low risk move because he's cheap, and then you can stick him on the bench. You just need him to start for a couple of game weeks, really.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, in defender, I do have a decision to make because I currently have Gabriel. And if I'm not bench boosting this week, I can stick with him and bench him. But otherwise, I have to see who to get in. Cool. Moving on to keepers. Yeah, so for this particular week, it's Alisson who's projected the highest. I mean, okay, so double game because of course, first Pope and then Henderson. And then you have among the single game because Alisson, Verbruggen, and Martinez as the next three.
Verbruggen's a nice keeper for the bench. For those that did get for this week, would you play him over Rhea given the rotation risk and maybe Arsenal with the weakened defense?
Yeah, I'm playing him over Rhea currently. Whether I bench boost or not, Verbruggen will be there. One thing, I mean, it will be a slight differential, and also with Arsenal's mass rotation expected, maybe, and Brentford is not such an easy game. Like they have the quality to score. And yeah, Leicester hasn't scored since January. But the more I say it, the more I'm absolutely confident that they'll go out and thrash Brighton. But yeah, and also Martinez is playing Southampton. So I would honestly play Martinez also above Raya, I feel.
Makes sense. But I think we should say probably Villa will also be heavily weakened. But the
True.
heavily weakened Villa, is it going to be worse than Southampton? I don't know.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I think Southampton in attack are capable of scoring more than Leicester at least, and it's an away game, so maybe that's more of a close call. Cool. Let's look at next week's teams now, and yeah, currently I think the bench boost for my team and the AI team is going on and off every few minutes. Like it's
Is
still
the AI team leaning towards the bench boost? How are you factoring that in?
so
for
that
the AI?
purely depends on what X-Mins I give to players like Konza and Savinho. So one advantage that the AI team has is it doesn't need to make any transfer this week, whether it bench boosts or not. I mean, unless we can say with confidence that Konza is not going to play, and then maybe it may be worth a transfer. But honestly, again, the AI team also has assistant manager left, and like to navigate those benches and doubles later. I think it may not be worth using a transfer for that 15th player on your bench boost, especially when you just wildcarded. I think it's okay to swallow a 1 pointer worst case. Like I don't see a high upside move. Maybe someone like an Estupinian playing against Leicester. He started the last few games, so he could potentially go out and get a big score. But I mean, because at least the way the AI evaluates it is every transfer is worth 4 points, because now you can roll transfers into later weeks. So someone has to get, if Konza is supposed to get 1 point and you're 100% sure of it, you need someone who's supposed to get 5 points in this week. And the only players in this defender sheet who are expected to get more than 5 are the ones who are doubling, like Newcastle and Palace, and you're already tripled up on them. So it doesn't. So even if the bench boost is activated, it's not worth it. But what I need to evaluate is bench boost 32 versus bench boost 33. And the thing is, if the AI team were to bench boost in 33, then it would have to make transfers to make that bench boost 33 worth it. And if not, then it can just focus on the starting 11. And it's already got a bench boost 32. So mathematically, I think even if Konza were to be benched, it's leaning towards a bench boost 32, but I don't know if I still have to do projections for the next game week and see what the possible transfers for next game week will be, and then compare those two, which I'll do. And also, for example, Savinho also, I don't know if what his X-Mins are likely to be.
Yeah.
So once those things are finalized, like we hear from Pep or Emery and Arteta, we can make a decision. But I think the starting 11 looks really good for this week.
And no doubts on a captaincy on Isak, or is there a Murphy?
No.
Sure.
I was actually worried that it might project Murphy more because he's a midfielder, but I was glad to see. Like it's at 12k, I wanted to do well, and in previous seasons, usually some decisions which all the humans are making, it goes very wildly against, and it backfires spectacularly. So, but yeah, this so it seems like the bench boost will be active, because bench boost 33 will have maybe Palmer to Saka, and honestly, I guess then you will have Livramento and Murphy and Isak playing Villa. So it would use 2 transfers there to set up for 33. So I think, whereas if you don't, then Savinho and Guardiola can come in, and maybe you can even transfer out Savinho. The only thing is Martinez will be stuck on the bench with a double, but maybe the Southampton game isn't so bad.
Right.
Cool. Moving on to my team. So for me, Gabriel is the problem here. Otherwise, I would have been in a similar situation. So I do need to get rid of him this week if I have to play the bench boost. And if I move him out, I can't do Gabriel to Saliba directly because I didn't even... So this is again careless. I didn't even realize Saliba was more expensive than Gabriel. He was already... And so I went with Verbruggen over Areola thinking, oh, what will I do with this extra money? And if I had Areola, I could have comfortably bench boosted 33 because he had Southampton.
I got Timber as well. I had him for quite a long time. He's been playing every match.
So then I thought, okay, I'll directly go for Timber, but then he got injured, and then he got taken off with a knock in the Champions League, and yeah, Arsenal's a little up in the air because then I was set on Kivior, and then I was like, Kivior, you want to keep him till the end of the season? Like, I don't know if it's worth that move. So then I've slowly come around to maybe getting a Brighton defender for this week because they've Leicester at home. Obviously, only if I'm bench boosting. So Estupinian probably, Dunk if I want to play it safe and keep
So at
up.
the moment, it's active, the bench boost.
Yeah, but you can literally cancel it with a click of a button. So I took two screenshots, one with bench boost and one without, and I just decided which one to put last minute. But yeah, I'm concerned about Konza.
I
That's
don't think he starts. I don't think any of these will. I think there'll be massive rotation.
yeah,
Backs
but again the
yeah.
same thing for me. If I go into 33 and I have to play the bench boost, one I'll be doing Palmer to Saka. Then I can probably afford Gabriel to Saliba, which seems like an okay thing to do. But then my bench boost will become Murphy, Livramento. I'll still have Konza. Uh,
And Verbruggen.
yeah, and Verbruggen has Brentford away. So there is a trade off there. I know maybe the keeper isn't the most important thing. But also I can't afford Murphy to someone like a Rogers then. Like it becomes
Yeah.
a more of, and I don't want to think of the bench later. So I'm kind of stuck in those two. But yeah, it'll go down to the wire. Again, if I know that Emery says I'm gonna rotate a lot, or if Pep says something about Savinho, I might go against it. But I will be starting Verbruggen ahead of Raya if I'm not playing the bench boost, and then I'll just play Guardiola instead of Gabriel. Otherwise, again, I'm pretty happy with the starting 11. It's just the 14th and like Savinho maybe, but that was okay. That's the risk I took because I do think that in the double, even if he plays 120 minutes, he can be a really good differential. Like he has a good high ceiling, and so that's why I don't want to lose him. But yeah, Konza was a mistake. I think that I was too greedy with the doubles. I was like, if I need him in 33, he'll be there, and he's played every minute. But yeah, cool. Moving on to your team. I think yours is more clear cut on bench boost 33, right?
Yeah, definitely not doing 32 bench boost, especially with kind of the turn of events in the Champions League. At the moment, I have Saka starting. And really, the decision for me is playing Saka, Saliba, Rogers, or Ruben Diaz. One of these four. I don't want to have Saka just because, he's expensive and he's good and he's a midfielder who scores points.
Yeah.
But most likely, waiting for the press conference, depending on the injury situation, even if there's like a little bit of doubt, and maybe even if there isn't because of the expected rotation, I might just play Ruben Diaz and be done with it because I do know Ruben Diaz is probably going to start or very likely going to start 99%, and just roll with that.
One thing though, are you? I mean, I don't know if Saliba will start or not, but I feel like he may not come on if he doesn't start. So maybe you'd want to start Saliba ahead of Diaz just because you have triple Palace against just to maximize your ceiling.
Again, yeah. I think that's one aspect, but I'm also not confident about double Arsenal defense with a weakened Arsenal team.
Yeah,
that also feels a little bit
makes sense.
dicey compared to City, who will play full strength going for the Champions League. Trying to be stingy, maybe like get a goal. I don't know. Like against United, they did seem pretty solid. Although I think United did create a few chances.
But yeah, I think really good starting line. I mean, I've been praising all the three teams starting lineups because they're basically the same. 10 players are the same, but yeah, I think it's.
Would you start in this amongst these four? Would you start Saliba? Is he the player that you go for?
This is tough because I think between Saka and Rogers, if I knew that Rogers was gonna play, that would be ideal. I feel like there is a small chance he'll play because he's kind of been like the Bruno Fernandes. He's played every game. He started every game, and he's done really well.
But I just think if there's one game to rest him, it's Southampton between two PSG games. Yeah. Like if at all. Yeah.
Yeah, without any info right now, I would probably play Saliba because I think he's most likely to play, and then maybe Ruben behind him, which is so weird because Saka and Rogers are such exciting options. uh, but yeah, like with
It
Saka,
could really backfire because these Saka Rogers could come off the bench and get a
exactly.
goal.
Yeah, even with
So,
30 minutes,
yeah.
especially Rogers, if he comes on with 30 minutes against Southampton, he could. And if he doesn't come on, you'll get someone on for him. So there's a lot of permutations to think about.
I just don't know what to do, honestly. I'll just, I think, roll the die and,
Yeah,
whatever my mood is
correct.
Friday night, that's what it's going to be.
But yeah, I think it's a relatively um, low impact decision. Hopefully, like hopefully someone doesn't go out and smash it out of these four, like very randomly.
It's like it could be high impact with Saka and Rogers sitting on the bench against Brentford home and Southampton away, but
Yeah,
I think you just have to play the odds here and expect them to be benched without getting too many minutes.
yeah. I think the press conferences will help for sure. Like we'll see who says what. Definitely, it's a question that will be asked of them. Cool. Yeah, I think a lot of decisions to make. There's only 6 game weeks left after this one, and a lot of chips going to come into play. Some more blanks and some more doubles left. Next 3 weeks will be, I think, very high scoring and critical.
Hopefully, some of these double game weeks do end up a bit of a damn squib. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and
Yeah.
we do have some fun over the next few weeks. Best of luck to everyone, and hope everyone has a nice set of rank gains over the next 2 weeks.
Bye.